So good morning. My name is Jean-Marie Verdun. I'm here with Elyès. I do work for HPE. Elyès is working for Scaleway. And we are here as a partner to provide you some kind of feedbacks around some OpenBMC experimentation. Before we start that presentation, how many of you are aware about what OpenBMC is? Raise your hand. OK. So OpenBMC, just to provide you a quick background, is an open source implementation of the baseboard management controller systems, which is a small chip on every server motherboard, which is taking care about the health of the servers and giving you a remote control of the machines just to properly manage it. And up to now, this piece of hardware has been under the control of proprietary solutions. And open source solutions are bringing some core innovation that we are currently testing with Scaleway at scale. So Elyès is going to introduce you Scaleway right now.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. So a quick presentation of Scaleway. Scaleway is a European cloud service provider founded in 1999. It's considered as the most complete cloud ecosystem in Europe in terms of products variety. It proposes multi-availability zone redundancy and native tool to architecture across multiple clouds. What is important is to say is that Scaleway operates sustainable data centers located across France, Netherlands, and Poland. For instance, DC5, which is the larger DC center, has a PUE of 1.15 and uses free and adiabatic cooling. So the motto is minimize the impact, maximize the savings. For instance, one major program, internal program in Scaleway is the Second Life program, consisting of reusing servers and extending their lifetime up to 10 years, where industry standard is more like 3 or 4 years, and thus reducing CO2 and e-waste. So hand over to Jean-Marie to introduce OpenBMC.
So just quickly to give you a background of OpenBMC and the RL300. So if you go on HPE booth, you will be seeing an RL300 systems. That's a brand new machines that HPE launched a couple of months ago. It is based on the Ampere microprocessor. It's the first server of the Gen 11 product portfolio. And what is good with this machine is that the host is new, but also the BMC side. So that is the first generation of ProLiant machines which can support the ILO BMC firmware, but also OpenBMC. So as a quick introduction about OpenBMC, OpenBMC is an operating system which runs on top of a very small ASIC on the motherboard that you can see pointed out by the green arrow. It relies on a full open source solution. So you get a bootloader, like with any Linux distribution, except that this bootloader is targeting the ARM environment. So it is based on U-boot instead of using grub. And on top of that bootloader, you get the Linux kernel, which is a really standard Linux kernel with a couple of device drivers which are specific to the BMC SoCs families. And on top of the Linux kernel, you get a user space. And the user space within OpenBMC is based on 2 core technologies. One of them is the dbus technology. It's a well-known established technology in the Linux environment. It is used for inter-process communications and synchronization. So you get a bunch of services which are taking care about the health monitoring and the health management of the servers. And it is also taking care about sensors and reportings and providing a high-level user interface like Redfish or IPMI. But the beauty of OpenBMC is that you can manage your systems without using this high-level protocol. So if you have a bunch of sysadmin within your teams, they can manage the BMC as a Linux operating system and take care about turning on and off the systems without knowing anything about Redfish. The second core technology used into the user space is systemd, which is taking care about launching and stopping the various daemons And if one of them is facing a critical failures, system D would be automatically restart the daemon just to avoid that the health of the systems get disrupted by the failure. So on HPE platforms, something which is important is that we design the BMC infrastructure. So many of our competitors are purchasing the SoC from suppliers. At HPE, we took the decisions that the core of our servers should be driven by some high-end values that the company can bring in. So the name of the chip is called GXP, and this is an ASIC that the company is designing since about 20 years. We have multiple generations, and the current generation is based on the Cortex-A9 ARM CPUs. That's a 32-bit single-core solution. It's coming with various engines, and all of the green box that you see on this slide are currently supported under their Linux operating system. So we took the decision to upstream the support of these features into the Linux kernel just to enable OpenBMC on this infrastructure. What kind of feature can you expect? So all the basic features are here today. So the cooling and the fan management, the inventory management, so just to detect what kind of hardware is present within your servers. So the remote connectivity is also present. So serial over LAN is here. KVM is there. We got the power management too, so you can monitor the power supply states and reporting. We had error monitoring also for DIMMs, for ECC errors coming from DIMMs and CPUs. We got a bunch of sensors which are enabled, and you can retrieve all of these values through IPMI or Redfish. One critical thing also on HPE platform is that we have a silicon root of trust. So switching from ILO to OpenBMC doesn't mean less security. So you have to sign your OpenBMC image with a private key, and you can benefit from the security which is coming directly from the silicon root of trust directly through your own signing process. So which means that you own the whole security of the platform, and you are more independent from your suppliers. We still have some ongoing developments. This is related to NVMe error reportings and PCI Express firmware of adapters like networking cards. So we are working on getting all of this through PLDM, SPDM support within OpenBMC and MCTP. We're expecting that this support will be enabled before the end of summer. So we're pretty optimistic that the whole stack is going to be there for the basic management.
Now I'll try to present the Scaleway experience regarding using OpenBMC. And I will first explain why OpenBMC is interesting for Scaleway. So currently, Scaleway is maintaining a huge number of both old and new servers, managed by several firmware stacks. So there is a big variety regarding APIs, binaries to use, tools provided by manufacturers. So here the statement is that manageability of servers become a real challenge. And the idea is to be able to use the most common possible hardware management interface. The second point is related to energy. And also here, energy is becoming a very important challenge regarding the current political context, etc. And the access to consumption, power, cooling data is becoming very important. And the statement here is that the exposed cooling and power data through manufacturer tools are not exposed as required or expected. And here, having the ability to customize and to adapt the provided and the output data could be of a real interest. And OpenBMC is seen now as the appropriate solution to address these kind of needs. A quick word regarding the collaboration between Scaleway and HPE. HPE and more specifically Jean-Marie's team provided a very efficient and proactive support to Scaleway. Despite the time difference, it was really fantastic, and they shared all the needed resources to be able to run OpenBMC on the RL300, including the source 3, which is not yet upstreamed, but I think it will be soon upstreamed. All needed documentation was provided. For instance, the build procedure, the transition from ILO to OpenBMC, which is well documented and very important because by default, the firmware stack on RL300 is ILO, so we need to switch from one stack to another. All the stuff regarding the transfer of ownership, signed images, etc. And also the debug procedure that relies on a very important debug serial cable. And also the ROM flashing procedure, knowing that currently we have a common ROM between the ILO and the OpenBMC stack. So why we are using OpenBMC and what is the vision in Scaleway? One important task that uses firmware in Scaleway is the task regarding pre-production hardware testing and validation. And using OpenBMC here as a single interface to check, update, configure BMC, ROM, etc. Is very interesting. And what has been already done is now the ability of the DevOps team inside Scaleway to rapidly test code changes, because we are able to push changes to build rapidly the firmware solution and to use network boot to run OpenBMC on the RL300. Then for the purpose of testing the hardware, we are using the host interface, which has been enabled, and which is the Ethernet over USB interface, which is very important for us because all the tests are performed through inbound. So having this channel is fundamental. So what's next now? As said later, the idea and the real interest is to use a single hardware management interface. OpenBMC allows this, and the idea is not simply using it with RL300, but also using it with other servers and other manufacturers. We intend to have a single interface and to maintain it through our internal CI/CD environment that will provide a secure and interoperable and standard interface based on Redfish, which is very important as well. And the idea is to break the dependency with various vendors and suppliers, especially regarding our Second Life program that aims to reuse servers and especially servers with end of support. So having this ability to continue to manage these kind of servers could be a real benefit, and it will provide the capacity to improve our velocity and go quickly to production, which is really very important for a cloud service provider.
So from an HPE standpoint and point of view, so we took the decision to enable OpenBMC on most of our Gen 11 platforms. So right now, if you are the lucky owner of a Gen 11 ProLiant systems, and you get ILO, you can switch it to OpenBMC. So the process by itself is just to get in touch with us first, just to run the transfer of ownership process, and then you would be enjoying the OpenBMC solution on top of these machines. So we're working on a few additional features which we believe are some core innovation from switching to from proprietary to open source solutions, like network booting, hardening. So we have more and more customers willing to network boot their BMCs. So like that, the update process will be super easy. So roughly, you get a boot service which is delivering the BMC image each time you start the machines, and you just have to update one locations and reset the BMC just to run the update process. There is also the local firmware management and the zero trust firmware approach that we are working on, where even the ROM is delivered through the network, and we are embedding a certificate. You are embedding customer certificates just to retrieve all of this data through HTTPS protocols. So that might be a very efficient way to deliver firmware to systems. And then there is a few other challenges that we try to address regarding FRU management, especially related to DCMHS program. The basic call to actions for this talk is, I think the best way to embrace OpenBMC or understand if that is something which might be matching your requirement is to test it. And that's also why we wanted to give you the opportunity to test it. And as I said, if you own a Gen 11 machines, just get in touch with your local HPE people. They will be super happy to help you regarding how to switch from ILO to OpenBMC. And this is not a one-way direction. If you do not like OpenBMC, you can switch back to ILO. That's also something important. When you are running OpenBMC, you are still under warranty. That's also something which is important. There's no specific requirements regarding this. And the enablement is currently moving forward pretty fast. So we support the RL300 and the AMD platforms as of now. The Intel platform is coming up too. And we'll be more than happy than helping you. And if you want to test OpenBMC, as we said during the previous presentation, OSFCI is here for that. Thank you very much. I think we are running out of time. We might be able to pick up one questions. Otherwise, I invite you to join us on the HPE booth just after that talk or when you will have time today.
Any questions? I think we have time for maybe one. All right, so I will just say one thing, that if you have any questions at all about OpenBMC or OCP in general, this is the guy. He's been around since day one. He knows so much about everything. So if you ever want to know the details, Jean-Marie is the man. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Jam.